good morning dear students of class 7, and I am happy to welcome you all to today's botany class. So what are we going to learn today? Today we will learn the continuation of chapter 2, that is Kingdom Protista. So what are we going to learn today? Kingdom Protista. In our last class, in our previous class, we have studied Kingdom Monera, right? So in this class we will study about Kingdom Protista. So what does this contain? What are the properties of Kingdom Protista? This group or this kingdom will have only single celled organisms. What is single? Single means one, right? Single means one. So all organisms in this group are made up of only one cell. These are single celled organisms. The organisms in Kingdom Protista are called as eukaryotes. They are called as eukaryotes. Why they have this name? Because they have a true nucleus. The meaning of EU, this means true, and the meaning of karyon means nucleus. Okay, so eukaryotes means those organisms which have a true nucleus. In the case of bacteria, if you have a bacteria, there will just be a coil structure in the center, and that is called as nucleoid. This is in the case of bacteria. This is not for eukaryotes. This is in the case of bacteria. Whereas in the case of Protista, the organisms in the Kingdom Protista will have a true nucleus, which means a nucleus is surrounded by a nuclear membrane. If there is a nucleus, there will be a nuclear membrane in the case of Protista. Okay, so that is why it is mentioned as they have a true nucleus which is surrounded by nuclear membrane, and also they have cell organelles. What are cell organelles? Cell organelles include mitochondria, Golgi bodies, and there are actually many cell organelles, but two examples are mentioned in your textbook. I have written only those two of them. Okay, so eukaryotes are organisms that have a true nucleus, as well as they have cell organelles like mitochondria and Golgi bodies. Okay, so this is about the speciality or the special property of the Kingdom Protista. Two more special properties you have. One is they can be seen with compound microscope. In your lab, have you seen microscope? That microscope, what is used in school lab, is called as compound microscope, which is the basic form of microscope. What is a microscope? Microscope means whatever you cannot see with your naked eye, you can see through the microscope. Actually, it multiplies the zoom size. In a camera, if you take a picture, if you want to see some small object, what you do? You zoom and look into the object, no, or the image. Similarly, whatever you cannot see through your naked eye, you can see through the compound microscope. Of course, it has limitations, like only 40 to 100 times it will show bigger than the actual size. Okay, if the original size is 100 times bigger, you can see under the compound microscope. So you can see this animals of this Kingdom Protista only under a microscope. You cannot see with your eyes. If you see, can you see bacteria with your eyes? No, right? Only under microscope you can see. Similarly, the organisms which come under the group Protista also can be seen only under the microscope. And one more property is, where do they live? Where do they live? They have two habitats. One is aquatic habitat. Aquatic means they live in water. In which all water bodies? Either in rivers or lakes or in seas they can live. And also some of them are terrestrial. What is terrestrial? Terrestrial means they live on the land but not in water. So what are the basic properties of the organisms in Kingdom Protista? They are all single cell. The entire body is only a single cell or one cell, and then they are also called as eukaryotes, which mean they have a true nucleus as well as cell organelles like mitochondria and Golgi body. And also you can, since they are very small in size, you can see only under a compound microscope. And also their habitat is either aquatic or terrestrial. Okay. So what next? Next we'll see some examples of protista. I have been talking about protista all this time now. So what are the examples? There are 3 examples given in your text. The first example is amoeba, the second example is paramecium, and the third example is euglena. So amoeba, paramecium and euglena come under this group called as protista. There are many actually. Those examples given in your textbook only I have explained you. Okay. So you can see the picture of these 3 organisms. So this is amoeba, this is paramecium and this is euglena. So let's see how they move. This slide is going to explain only about the mode of locomotion. What is locomotion? Locomotion means movement. How do they move? Locomotion means movement. Okay, so how they are going to move? How does amoeba move? Amoeba has something called as pseudopodia. Can you see some structure like this? It is not, these are all round, right? Whereas here you can see some extensions. So this is called as pseudopodia. With the help of pseudopodia only, amoeba will move. Then paramecium moves with a structure called as cilia. What is cilia? Cilia is these hair-like structures. Can you see small hairs here? So this is called as cilia. Okay. So this is cilia, and in euglena you have whip-like structures. Whip is nothing but again it is a big hair-like structure. Can you see long hair-like structure? In this also you can see here. So these long hair-like structures, or it is technically called as whip. Okay, so these whip-like structures present in euglena are called as flagella. So euglena can move with the help of flagella. So just like a boat, they will in bacteria also you have seen about flagella, right? So they row like a boat and they move with the help of flagella. So how does amoeba moves? With the help of pseudopodia. How does paramecium moves? With the help of cilia, which is a hair-like structure. And how does euglena moves? With the help of flagella. Okay, so this is about the locomotion of the 3 examples given in your textbook, which is about the kingdom protista. Next we learn about the nutrition. What is nutrition? It means what they eat. We eat food, no? What do protista group of organisms eat? We'll see in this slide. What do they eat? Okay. So based on what they eat, they are classified into 3 groups called as autotrophic, heterotrophic or parasitic. Okay, some protista are called as autotrophs, some are called as heterotrophs and some are called as parasites, and their mode of nutrition is autotrophic, heterotrophic or parasitic. Auto means, I have told you many times, what is the meaning of auto? It is not a vehicle. Auto means self. What is self? By itself. Okay. So when protista can produce their own food, those protista or the organisms in that group are called as autotrophs. Plants produce their own food, no? So they are called as autotrophs. Similarly, some organisms in the kingdom protista will also produce their own food and they are called as autotrophs. When can they produce? You know, just like the plants, when those organisms have the pigment called as chlorophyll only, they can produce their own food. So they are autotrophs only when they have a pigment called as chlorophyll. Example for this type of protista is euglena. If you remember in the previous slide, there was a picture here, no, which moves with the help of flagellum. What was the color of that? That was euglena, right? So what was the color of that? It was green in color, right? If you remember, you will interpret and see. So euglena is green in color because of the presence of chlorophyll. So if they have chlorophyll and if sunlight is available, they undergo the process of autotrophic nutrition. Sometimes, always they have chlorophyll, right? So when they have chlorophyll but light is unavailable in a condition, when light is unavailable, this organism Euglena will switch on to heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Are you clear? Euglena will have chlorophyll in them, but when light is available, it will remain as an autotroph which can produce their own food. Whenever light is not available, it will switch on to heterotrophic mode of nutrition. What is heterotrophic mode of nutrition? Heterotrophs are the organisms which will depend on something else for their food. We are all heterotrophs. Man is a heterotroph because we do not produce our own food. Cooking in the kitchen is not producing our own food. Does our body produce our own food? No, right? We either take plant food or animal food. So we are all heterotrophs. So some organisms in kingdom Protista are also heterotrophs. Example, Paramecium and amoeba are heterotrophs. So as I told you, heterotrophs always depend on other organisms for their food, right? So on what do they depend for food? They depend on bacteria and algae. So what do these two organisms eat? They eat either bacteria or algae. Okay, so this is about heterotrophic nutrition. What are parasitic type of nutrition? Parasites means organism requires another organism or a host to live in. Okay, so if you have bacteria in your intestine, then you are the host. If I have bacteria in my intestine, I am the host for that bacteria because that bacteria will eat all the nutrients of me. Okay, so what I eat now, from that bacteria will take. So those type of organisms are parasites. Living organisms which live on another living organisms for their nutrients are called as parasites. Example for parasites are Plasmodium and Entamoeba. What are the two examples? Plasmodium and Entamoeba are parasitic type of organisms which come under the kingdom Protista. Okay, so what are the names of the organisms? Plasmodium and Entamoeba. This Plasmodium, I told you, both of them will require a host for their living, or survival. So the host for both of them is man, that is the human beings. Okay, so when Plasmodium depends on man for food, it causes malaria. Plasmodium vivax is nothing but the mosquito which causes malaria. The full name is actually called as Plasmodium vivax. That is the name of the malarial mosquito. All mosquitoes do not cause malaria, right? Daily mosquitoes bite us, but do we get malaria daily? No, right? Only when this mosquito called as Plasmodium vivax bites, we will get malaria. So Plasmodium causes malaria, and Entamoeba is also under the kingdom Protista, which causes a disease called as amoebiosis. The name of the disease is amoebiosis. Malaria is also the name of the disease. So these are all the names of the organisms. So the organism or the mosquito Plasmodium causes malaria. When they bite the human being, they take in the blood, and while they take the blood only, they will give you the disease causing property to your body. Okay, that's why you get malaria. And then this organism Entamoeba lives in your intestine, and it causes a disease called as amoebiosis. So this is all about the types of nutrition. Next we are going to learn in detail about amoeba. Okay. Just as a typical example for this kingdom, they have explained amoeba in your book. So what all? See, this is the amoeba. You must have seen this from your lower grades, I guess. So this is the structure of amoeba, which is irregular. How can I describe the structure? It is irregular. Why I call it as irregular? Because see, it is not, I cannot call it as either a circle or a rectangle or a square, right? It is irregular in shape. It can be of any shape. So it is irregular in shape. And then they have a plasma membrane. Can you see white outer layer? This is the plasma membrane. So which is the plasma membrane? This white outermost layer, no? This is called the plasma membrane. Okay, then you have cytoplasm inside. No, this pink color region is the cytoplasm, and it is divided into two called as ectoplasm and endoplasm. Always the word ecto refers to out and the word endo refers to in. Okay, ecto means out and endo means in. So ectoplasm is the darkly shaded pink color region. Okay, this is ectoplasm, and you have light pink here. No, that is the endoplasm. So the cytoplasm is the pink colored region which is subdivided into two, ectoplasm which is the dark pink color in the outermost region, and endoplasm is the light pink color in the innermost region. Then what else you have? You have three more structures. One is contractile vacuole. Let me rub this, it may not be clear for you. So there are two more structures in this point, contractile vacuole and food vacuole. Can you see three actually, that you have three circles, right? I will tell the next one, I will explain in the next point. Here you have food vacuole, this is called food vacuole. This is food vacuole. This is food vacuole, it has food inside, one circle with food inside, right? Here you have nothing inside, actually there is something, there is water, that is why it is shaded blue in color. This contractile vacuole is this one, which is a big circle and blue in color. Okay. So as I told you, in food vacuole what do you have? You have food inside the food vacuole and water inside the contractile vacuole. This contractile vacuole helps in regulation of water. It regulates the water inside the amoeba. Okay. And one more structure you have, nucleus. This brown color, can you see? This is the nucleus in amoeba. So nucleus which has a nuclear membrane. I already told you all organisms of the kingdom Protista are eukaryotes which have a true nucleus. Again I told you, true nucleus means a nucleus which is surrounded by a nuclear membrane. So this is the nucleus. So this is the nucleus, and can you see a dark like black color? Can you see outer covering? That is the nuclear membrane. Okay. So what all amoeba has, and also they have pseudopodia. See, can you see these extensions? Actually the shape of it is like this, like round structure. It is not round, it is supposed to be a simple structure, but when it extends the cytoplasm, it is called as pseudopodia. This pseudopodia helps in the locomotion. We have already studied, right? There is one more property of or function of pseudopodia. It can engulf the prey. What is prey? Prey means food. Okay. So whenever a food is nearby, it will just engulf. It will swallow that food. That is one more advantage or function of pseudopodia. So this is the basic structure of amoeba. Next we learn about the respiration, nutrition and reproduction in amoeba. Okay. So the nutrition of amoeba is called as holozoic. What is this word holozoic? Holozoic means if some organisms can swallow the food. Okay. So without biting or cutting, we bite with the teeth and cut the food before eating. Here in amoeba, it just engulfs or swallows the whole solid particle. Okay, if a solid particle is just swallowed, it is called as holozoic. So the nutrition in amoeba, so we are studying just about the properties of amoeba, the structure of amoeba we have seen, and now the nutrition of amoeba we are learning about. So this nutrition in amoeba is of 5 stages called as ingestion, digestion, absorption assimilation and egestion. Have you studied this somewhere? These words you have studied, right? Where did you study? In human digestive system also you have all these 5 stages only, right? Ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion, which you have already studied in your zoology, right? So here in ingestion what happens? The pseudopodia just covers the food particle. Can you see the food particles here? So the food is here. So the pseudopodia extends and covers the food. The pseudopodia just covers the food and it engulfs. It just gets the food inside. See, where is the food now? It is inside. In the first stage the pseudopodia is around. Now it is inside. Okay. So it is engulfed. Engulf means swallowing. Okay. So it is engulfed. Then what happens? The second step is digestion, I told you, right? In our human intestine we have enzymes, right? Similarly, this small unicellular amoeba also have certain enzymes, and these enzymes what they do? They make the complex food into soluble food materials. You have bigger ones, no? Food particles. The function of enzymes itself is to break big food into small food, no? So here also the food is broken down into simple foods. Then what is happening? These broken food or which is made soluble is diffused into the cytoplasm. So where is cytoplasm here? The dot, wherever you find a cell or a living organism structure, if you have dots, that is called the cytoplasm. So this soluble food is absorbed into the cytoplasm. The next step is assimilation. Assimilation means the absorbed food is used by the amoeba. It is used by the amoeba for what all? For producing new protoplasm and also for getting energy. Whenever you eat food you get energy, right? Similarly, amoeba also gets energy in the next step. And in the last stage is egestion, just how we pass out the waste. Similarly, the amoeba also releases the waste out of its body, and this process is called as egestion. See, through pseudopodia only it takes in food, and also through the pseudopodia only it is thrown out. Okay, actually you have you studied about contractile vacuoles? They release the waste. That process is not explained, just it is released out. It is given in your book. Okay, so these are the 5 steps of nutrition. Next is about respiration. Okay, next is about locomotion. After this you will learn about respiration. See, I have already told you locomotion means movement. Okay, the movement in amoeba is called as amoeboid movement. What is the movement of amoeba called? It is called by a technical term called as amoeboid movement. Why amoeboid movement? What does it mean? Amoeboid movement means flow of cytoplasm in the direction of the movement. Where is cytoplasm? All these yellow color structure is cytoplasm, right? What is shaded in yellow is cytoplasm. So what is this? You know already, this is pseudopodia. Whenever you have an extension, that is called as pseudopodia. So amoeboid movement means the flow of cytoplasm. That is why arrow mark is given. Flow of cytoplasm in the direction of the movement. I have already told you amoeba moves with the help of pseudopodia. So when pseudopodia extends, when a new pseudopodia is formed, the cytoplasm enters to that area. Again, when one more pseudopodia is formed, cytoplasm moves to that direction and the movement is in that direction. Let's see in detail. There are 3 steps in the locomotion of amoeba. Step 1, it forms pseudopodia in the direction of the movement. Suppose if the amoeba wants to move this side, has to walk this way. Okay, if it wishes to walk in this direction, it forms a pseudopodia. Here it will form a pseudopodia. It forms a pseudopodia in the direction of the movement. If it wants to walk this way, a pseudopodia is formed in this area. What is the second step? In the second step, cytoplasm extends and pseudopodia also extends. What does this mean? It means wherever pseudopodia is extended, the cytoplasm also rushes to that place. And the third step is change in direction will lead to the formation of new pseudopodia. See, until this time it has been walking in this direction, right? So first it is walking in this direction, and now what happens? It changes its direction. Suppose if it wants to walk in this direction, okay, if it wishes to changes the direction from here to this way, one more new pseudopodia is formed and then it will move to this place. So this is about the locomotion of amoeba. So it is called amoeboid movement in amoeba. And next is about the respiration. Just like human beings, first of all, respiration is through the cell membrane. In the structure of amoeba, we have studied that the outermost white layer is cell membrane. No, only through that the gas exchange takes place. What we do for us, we take in through nose. No, how do we take in the air or the oxygen? Through our nostrils or the nose. So similarly, the amoeba will take in through their cell membrane. Exchange of gases takes place through diffusion. What is diffusion? Diffusion is, suppose if there is more oxygen in the atmosphere and if the body is lacking oxygen, then oxygen from atmosphere, that is from higher to lower concentration in your body, it will come. Okay, and if you have so much of carbon dioxide in your body or amoeba's body, and if there is less carbon dioxide outside, then the carbon dioxide from the inside of amoeba will go to the external environment. So this is about exchange of gases. So oxygen is taken in and what is given out? Carbon dioxide is given out. Okay. So respiration in amoeba is through the cell membrane. What happens? Exchange of gases happens by a process called as diffusion. What is taken in? Oxygen. What is given out? Carbon dioxide. And the last topic is about reproduction. Reproduction in amoeba is of two types called as binary fission and multiple fission. So what are the two types? Binary fission and multiple fission. Bi means two. What is bi? In binary, bi means 2, which means if there is one amoeba, the result is going to be 2 amoeba. If there is one amoeba, finally you will get 2. See here, initially there is 1, right? Here you have 2 in number. So this is binary fission. In multiple fission, what is happening? Initially there is one amoeba and finally you will have multiple. See, can you see many small dots? These are all amoeba. So multiple means many. So in multiple fission, you will get many daughter cells. See, the small ones are called as daughter cells. Okay. So this is parent, and out of parent you get 2. So how this is happening in binary fission? First what happens? You have one nucleus, right? So this one nucleus is divided into 2 nucleus. So in binary fission, first there is parent cell and then one nucleus divides into 2 nucleus, and then the cytoplasm of the amoeba is split into 2 equal halves. See, there is totally one cell here. The cytoplasm also divides equally into 2, and finally what happens? 2 separate daughter cells are formed. So how this is happening? There is one parent amoeba. First the nucleus divides, which is the dark black color, right? So that divides. Then again the cytoplasm divides and they form 2 daughter cells. This is binary fission. In multiple fission, there is one special property. See, during unfavorable condition, whenever the atmosphere's condition is not good, what bacteria does is it develops a coat around it. Can you see a blue color circle? Inside you have light blue and outer you have darker shade of blue. No, this is called as cyst. What is it called? It is called as cyst. So this one is cyst. What is this cyst? The cyst is a hard covering. It is a hard covering produced in amoeba. Why it is produced? To protect itself from the unfavorable conditions. Suppose if the temperature outside is too hot, what amoeba does? It produces cyst, which is a hard outer covering, and then during unfavorable conditions, what amoeba does is it will divide repeatedly. The nucleus will divide repeatedly, and when there is favorable condition, the cyst will break out and all the daughter cells, there are, every nucleus will produce one more amoeba. Okay, so what did I tell you? There is one amoeba. When the temperature or any unfavorable condition, when there is no water or when there is high temperature, likewise whenever there is a unfavorable condition, this amoeba, what they do, it is inside a cyst, no? I told you it will produce a cyst, like a protective covering, it covers itself. Inside, the nucleus divides many number of times, and how many number of nucleus is present, that many number of amoeba will be released out on the return of favorable conditions. Whenever the condition is suitable for the amoeba to live back again, the cyst wall will burst and the amoeba will be released out. So this is how amoeba reproduces. The next is your homework. For your homework, you are going to read from page number 41 to 45. Okay, so that is all for today's class, and until I meet you in your next zoology class, you all take care and bye bye.